Well, first of all, good morning and Happy New Year to everyone. Hope you had a great holiday season and so glad to get back here, and sorry to drag you guys out of bed so early in the morning. But yeah, I had an opportunity to think over the holiday season, and I'm thinking, where were we last year compared to this year? Last year, we had President Trump just got elected, getting sworn in, put a full attack on our country, on our province, and we had no federal government. So compared to now, we had uncertainty, and we were out there saying, oh, Canada's great, and this is a reason you should make a trade deal, and we didn't know the rules. Well, we learned the rules with President Trump. There are no rules with President Trump. So as we move forward throughout the year, and as we move forward for this year, we're going to focus on what we can do to continue to thrive and prosper, how we can work collaboratively with all the provincial governments and the federal government as well. So I'm feeling, do you know what it is? I'm feeling very positive. And I was getting, when I say thousands of messages over the holiday season. And every time I returned a message, I'm feeling positive. And don't get me wrong. Are we going to have a little turbulence? Are we going to hit certain walls? Yeah, we are. We are as a country. We are as a province. But we're going to just keep moving forward. And it kind of reminded me of the pandemic. You know, the pandemic, the first year, the first few months, it was tough. And then all of a sudden, Ontario just came together, as we're doing right now, and putting political stripes aside, working with other parties, the federal Liberals too, and we just start moving. And I can feel it. I can really feel it out there that we're going to have a very positive 2026. But that's without saying that there's going to be bumps, but we're going to get through them. You know, we have an important mandate, and that mandate is to protect the people of Ontario from the uncertainty, as I said, in the upheaval that President Trump caused. But we're going to focus on what we can do, and we're doing it. Collectively, by the way, when I say we, I'm talking all Ontarians, not the government, but everyone putting the rubber to the road. We're delivering on that mandate that we got elected by building the most competitive, resilient, and self-reliant economy in the entire G7. And last year alone, despite ongoing economic uncertainty, Ontario welcomed nearly $28 billion of investments. I'm going to repeat that, $28 billion of investments, creating nearly 57,000 new jobs. And again, that's all the companies out there, everyone working together. My number one salesperson, Vic Fideli, he's all over the world. And when I talked to him over the holiday, I talk to him every day, but he said, Premier, we have just endless amounts of companies that are going to be investing anywhere from tens of millions to hundreds to billions of dollars. So that's good news. These investments, they're the result of our pro-business and pro-worker policies. We've lowered the cost of doing business in Ontario by over $12 billion each and every single year. We've never raised a tax, and I will never, ever raise a tax. We've actually lowered them. In fact, we've cut taxes, and we'll continue to do so. We're investing billions in skills training, and we've already trained more than 750,000 workers. Think of that. In every single sector you can think of, 750,000 people now have been trained. Over 100,000 of those people have found employment, which is great, and help them take home a bigger paycheck at the end of the day. Now in 2026 will bring its own unique challenges. Until they're concluded, CUSMA renegotiations will continue to bring uncertainty to Canada's economy. But I have full confidence in Team Canada. We're all working together. The federal government, provinces and territories, municipalities, workers, unions, and business leaders, we're all united. For our part, our government is ready with a plan to keep protecting Ontario, to continue delivering on our mandate to make our province the most competitive economy in the G7. We're going to keep cutting red tape. We've cut about $1.2 billion of red tape, saving over a million working hours that they can reallocate people to somewhere else that's more productive in their company than filling out government paperwork. And we're lowering cost for families and businesses. We're leading the country by unlocking free trade and labor mobility within Canada. In fact, last week, new regulations took effect that will get certified professionals from other parts of the country on the job within 10 days of moving to Ontario. We're fighting to defend every job with financial supports to retool, reshore, and retrain, and to pivot to new products, new markets, and new customers. At the same time, we're creating new job opportunities for workers by investing in and supporting growth-ready sectors. I'll give you examples, like the critical minerals, nuclear, life sciences, and defense. Later this year, we will have shovels in the ground building the roads to the Ring of Fire, 3 years ahead of schedule. Thanks to the arrangements we signed with First Nations, they were historic. I just want to thank the Martin Falls, Webequie, and Arrowland for the incredible opportunity to work together. And I also want to thank the federal government. These roads will unlock Ontario's new mining opportunities in a region with the largest critical mineral reserves in the entire world, and adding about $22 billion to Ontario's economy and creating over 72,000 new jobs. We have a mining conference called PDAC, and it's the largest in the world, so we're going to be seeing everyone come to Toronto, and it's impressive. If you have a chance to go down there, by all means, head down there. We're also securing Ontario's place as a global nuclear energy superpower by upgrading our existing nuclear power plants, building the first small modular reactors in the G7, and building the first large-scale nuclear facilities in decades. Ontario's nuclear build-out is the most ambitious in the Western world. It will create 150,000 new jobs and add hundreds of billions to our economy. And we saw that when we went down to New York, and they're talking about building 1,000 megawatts. We're talking 16,000 megawatts. That's enough power to power 16 million homes. So it's just staggering what we're doing in nuclear energy. We're investing more than $200 billion in highways and transits, hospitals, and infrastructure so we can keep workers on the job. That includes major projects like the 413, the Ontario line, and the Bradford Bypass, all of which will hit major construction milestones this year. We're also continuing to make record investments in healthcare, education, and other services. This includes our $2.1 billion primary care action plan, and I want to thank Sylvia Jones for heading this up, but Dr. Jane Philpott, which is doing a great job, which they've already connected over 300,000 people to primary care over the past year. We're also investing $6.4 billion to build and upgrade 58,000 long-term care spaces with homes for 25,000 residents already under construction or complete, and across more than 150 projects on long-term care. That number always amazes me. I know people are concerned about President Trump's tariffs and the economic uncertainty they're creating. But I also want the people of Ontario to know that I will keep fighting to protect their jobs and protect our province no matter what. We have a mandate to protect Ontario and the year ahead. We will continue getting it done. And I just want to go back to our last press conference. I think there was 4 days. We had an incredible announcement in Niagara Falls. That went right around the world. It went out to Las Vegas. Companies are coming. They want to invest. And I want to thank all the mayors that are pushing this forward in the Niagara region. And then we're bidding on the defense, the Global Defense Bank. You know, companies will be investing banks will be investing $500 to $600 billion in the defense bank. It's creating 3,500 jobs, and there's going to be over 40 countries involved. So I always say that's equal to like 5, 6, 7 Olympic bids, and we need to land this because there's going to be all sorts of defense companies. We all already have close to 500 defense companies right here in Ontario, and they're all going to be visiting and coming from all over the world. That is absolutely massive. And then I went up to Ottawa, had a meeting with the Prime Minister, and we really focused on expediting permits as quickly as possible, not duplication. We doing one EA, they're doing one EA. So that stopped. Now that's why we're able to get the road to the Ring of Fire with collaboration with the First Nations 3 years earlier. And then we went to New York, and New York Power Authority made an agreement with the governor, and that was a ripple effect. So that was really the last announcement for those 4 items alone. But make no mistake about it, throughout the holidays, I had no holidays. The calls were coming in and fast and furious. So anyways, we're going to get moving. I can't wait. And I just want to thank the people of Ontario. May God bless the people of Ontario. So I've been missing all the media. My heart's been pitter-pattering. And let's get at it.
We'll now take questions from the media. As a friendly reminder, the format is 1 question, 1 follow-up. Please state your name and your outlet before your question.
Premier, is there enough office space for the Ontario public sector workers you're mandating back on the job?
Yeah, we're working on that, Richard, and I appreciate the comments there, but it's great to get everyone back to work like every other normal citizen. You know, you go out there and you show up 5 days a week. And there's arrangements. If they can't make it in, they're going to have to work within the bureaucracy, the OPS. They all have their managers, and we just look forward to getting everyone back. And by the way, it's not even back to work because they always work. They're good people, the OPS. They're just going to work within office and within the office. But anyways, I just want to thank all the OPS. And by the way, folks, there was a whole bunch of Ontario Public Service that were working 5 days a week nonstop because they couldn't leave the office. But that's up to their management to work that out. But I'm very, very happy. I want to thank Ottawa too, the mayor out there. He's doing a great job. Mayor Sutcliffe. Everyone's coming back to the office, not back to work because they always work.
Have you spoken with the LCBO?
Yeah, sure.
You didn't part ways with Steve Clark and Khalid Rashid until after the Integrity Commissioner's report on the Greenbelt back in 2023. You waited to see what the Integrity Commissioner reported back. You looked at that report, and in the weeks ahead, you made some action. We now have the Integrity Commissioner looking at Skills Development Fund, specifically at some of David Puccini's actions. Are you waiting to see what that report says before your next steps on dealing with your Labour Minister?
Well, thanks, Robert. Let's see what the Integrity Commissioner says. I'll stand by that program all day long. There were 750,000 people trained, 100,000 people finding new jobs. We're going to continue doing this. Is there tweaks to every program? 100%. Do we follow the direction of the Auditor General or the Integrity Commissioner if they come out with recommendations? 100%. Are we cooperating? 100%. But it's a great program, and we're going to continue moving forward with it. But with any program that large, there's going to be tweaks, and that's what we're going to do. And do I have confidence in David Puccini? Yes, I do.
So you have confidence in him now, but you're pending what that report says. Is that what
No, I never said that, Robert. I have confidence in him now, and we're cooperating with the Integrity Commissioner. So it's a great program. We're going to continue moving it forward because we got to look at people's lives, and if they have a trade, they have a job for life, and you can't ask for anything more than that. And we're going to continue training people for the jobs of the future as well. It's so critical that we focus on the jobs of the future, no matter if it's nuclear or if it's life sciences or healthcare and critical minerals. So that's what I'd be focused on if I were a young person coming out of university and college. I wouldn't recommend taking the basket weaving course that some young people do. Don't do it. Take something that, jobs of the future.
Premier, an Ontario court has ruled that you do, in fact, have to hand over your personal cell phone records as it pertains to government business to the Information and Privacy Commissioner. Are you going to do that, or is your government going to appeal that rule?
We're going to appeal. Folks, I get thousands, and I'm talking to the people that call me, and there's thousands, not hundreds, thousands. Do you want your personal records about your health care and your family and everything else going public? there has to be confidentiality. And it's no different than when you leave office as a city councillor, if you leave office as an MPP, as an MP, do you know what you do? You destroy all records. That's what we have to do. So anyways, I can assure you we're going to keep your calls to me highly confidential. I've never ever mentioned a call in 7.5 years. I've never mentioned anyone's name because I get very personal calls about family situations, very deep too, and they trust me. And so I'm not going to break their trust. I'm going to make sure they're confidential. And we're going to have an appeal.
So are you saying you destroyed records, or you're?
No, I didn't say destroyed. When you leave office, right? If you're a city councillor and say you retire, or an MPP, you retire or you lose, or an MP, by law you have to destroy all records in your office. So say someone else, you retire and the same party gets elected and goes into your office, you can't hand over those confidential records to your colleague that just got elected. You have to destroy them. So I don't see the difference.
But this is the
calls are confidential.
Fair enough. This is the Information and Privacy Commissioner, though, and you are the Premier of Ontario. You do use your personal cell phone for calls that relate to government business. Nobody's asking you to reveal confidential calls that you're having with constituents, but certainly ones that you might be having that have influence on government business. Shouldn't those records be released to the public so we know who's influencing you?
No one influences Doug Ford, I can assure you that. What is right for the people, that's my decision. That's what I'm going to focus on. And I would say that 90 some odd percent, I don't know exactly, are all personal. People have issues. I'll give you an example. I get a phone call this morning, a message, from a great educator, a great teacher I've never met before, saying the heating's out in their school. Like, you're calling the Premier of the day to say your classroom's cold. But these are the things that I deal with, and I thank them, because that's a serious concern to that teacher. And I want to thank that teacher for calling me. But I get endless calls. Guys, when I say endless, they don't stop all night. I don't know, people are up all night calling me. And usually when they call me at 2, 3 in the morning, they either had one too many pops or they're something's going on. And so I call back this one person at about 7 o'clock in the morning. I see that they called at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, you know, were you drinking, or were you, smoking the wacky tobacco? Like, you don't call your mother at 3 o'clock in the morning. And next thing you know, that person's online saying, he told me I was on drugs and I was drinking. No. You didn't say that I called at 3 o'clock in the morning. But folks, like, you can wait till 7 to give me a call. But I get it around the clock, 24/7, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, all the time, and I don't mind. That's a job I signed up for. And as all you tell me and my staff, look in the mirror and blame the person in the mirror for giving out your cell phone for the entire world. So it's my fault.
Speaking of booze, that Diageo plant is closing next month. In fact, the company's listed it for sale. Are you going to follow through on your threat to remove Crown Royal from the
100%. I can't wait.
You will?
Yeah, 100%. But I'm not going to waste another bottle of Crown Royal dumping it. Maybe I'll take the stop route. But what we're looking, and there's quite a few interested parties, I understand, that are going to go in there and hire back all the Diageo workers. And I know a lot of them already found jobs. And I know a lot of them went down to Stellantis to work in their plant, because they're hiring. They're starting up that third shift.
To be clear, you are going to remove Crown Royal from the LCBO store shelves?
Oh, 100% I am.
What about all the other
100%.
Diageo brands that you were talking
No,
about?
I'm just going to focus on Crown Royal for now. But isn't that great with the moves that we have made in the last year? We've seen wine sales jump 76%. So that's great for the grape growers, the small wineries, the large wineries, and any other alcoholic beverage that we have. We've seen it spike since we've taken the wines off the shelves. So we have great Niagara wineries. We have great Ontario wineries, not just Niagara, but across Ontario. We grow great grapes, and we make great wine. So try a bottle of Ontario wine.
Premier Ford, on the
sure.
back to office 5 days a week, just a couple questions on that.
Yeah.
One of the complaints from some of the unions is the lack of office space, despite you saying that there is enough. We know the government is spending money on acquiring new leases to accommodate more workers. So how much money, taxpayer money, is the government prepared to spend to get workers back in the office 5 days?
Well, the Ontario Public Service, the Secretary Cabinet and her deputies are all working on that. But I think we have room for the majority of the people, and they'll get through this. There's a little bump. They've been working on it for the last little while. But all we're asking is people come back into the office like every other person that's working out there, vast majority, because I tour more plants than anyone in the country, and they're all out there. They're back in the factories. Just imagine if you're a healthcare worker, you didn't get Christmas off with your family, or a police officer, a firefighter, a paramedic. Like, a lot of these people are working extremely hard. And all we're saying is just come back to the office like everyone else.
But do you have a ballpark figure on how much?
I don't, but I'll get in my office to get back to you on that.
And just you often talk about congestion and traffic in the GTA, and that's a major concern of yours. So with everyone coming back to the office 5 days a week, or will you acknowledge that traffic could get even worse in the GTA because of your decision?
Yeah, it won't be any worse than 2 years ago, and that's the reason we're building the largest transit system in North America, and we're spending about $80 billion. And then we're building roads and highways because no, we opened up Finch, a little slow right now, but it's over the city. We're going to open up Eglinton LRT. We've added hundreds of additional trips on the GO train over a number of years. We're building GO train stations as well. We're going full steam for the future, and that's the reason we're going to build that tunnel, because people that are on the 401, the numbers say that over the next 10 years, all 400 series highways will be at capacity. The 401 is at capacity. And that's why we're investing over $200 billion on infrastructure to plan, not just for next year, but for 20, 30, 50 years ahead.
This will be the last question.
You said you were busy over the holidays, taking calls, making calls. That sounds a lot like working from home. Why can't the public sector be afforded the same rights?
Well, you know something, this job is 24/7, 365, and it's not just me, any premier. I'm a little unusual because I give my cell number out. No one in the world, let me repeat that, no one in the world, my position, gives out their cell number, and I do, because I want to get the heartbeat and the pulse of the people. I have thousands, tens of thousands of ears and eyes all over the province. And I always say when people call me and there's an issue, you know, there's always a little bit of truth to it, or there's a lot of truth. And when there's a lot of truth and I dig into it, you know, I'm like an 800-pound gorilla on a bunch of bananas. I'm just on these guys nonstop, and then I dig deep into it and find out and correct the problem and follow back up. Or if people are waiting, I got another call. Someone was in the hospital with heart problems, waiting in the waiting room at a certain hospital. And they were there for a couple hours. These are the calls you can't even imagine come through. I feel like the 911 operator. And by the way, I got to give a shout out to the superintendent on 911 here in Toronto. He's a champion. He's brought down the wait times considerably. He's building a whole team. So he's doing an incredible job. And the 911 operators, you're all champions because you're doing a great job.
There have been some hiccups since.
Yeah, I did. I had the mayor of Aurora over, and he's a champion in Stouffville. Basically, the size of the bins, they wanted a medium bin instead of a large bin. But the company that's doing it, make no mistake, if it doesn't work, we'll change it. Like anything else, you're trying to recycle as much as we possibly can. We're really going after areas that we can utilize more recycling. Because I went to recycling plants before and they said, we don't have enough plastic bottles. We don't have enough recycling goods. So that's what we're going to try. And if it doesn't work out, we'll change it. That's with any program we do. We tweak it. And a lot of governments, they dig their heels in. No, they aren't. I don't. Right? If it's not working, plain and simple, let's make the changes, continuous improvement. But we're going to do well, folks. I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling really, really positive. And we're going to go full steam. You have the power. We're an economic powerhouse. You have the power of Ontario, of 16.3 million people, the machinery moving forward, leading the world in nuclear, leading the world in critical minerals. And we have a pro-business government that creates more jobs, more opportunities, more investments. So I just want to thank everyone that's involved. I appreciate it. And I got to thank my good friends in the media. I do. Because we have a good time. You guys hold me accountable, and that's your job. I get it. So we're going to continue moving forward. Thank you. God bless the people. Sorry, Jamie, you got one more? Oh, okay. See? Let's see. Go ahead, Jamie.
We saw Trump use language about drug smuggling, foreshadowing what happened on the weekend in Venezuela. We heard him use language about critical minerals in Greenland and how he wants Greenland. We have oil. We have critical minerals. He has spoken about wanting to annex Canada. Are you? Does that frighten you at all?
No, it's not going to frighten me. It shouldn't frighten anyone in Canada. What he should be focusing on getting a deal done. We're their number one customer. They're our number one customer. There isn't a governor, Republican or Democrat, senator or congressperson that doesn't agree. You can't unscramble an egg that's been around and integrated for decades. You got to make the omelet larger. And that's what we're going to do. But I'm not going to worry about President Trump. I'm going to worry about what we can do, how we can diversify our trade around the world and start shipping more goods and products in our energy, the small modular reactors, for example. Stephen Lecce is just knocking it out of the park with that, and the critical minerals. Ship them around the world. Let's not be so reliant on one country. If there was one thing, only one thing, President Trump has done good for Canada, he woke us up. He woke us up and he's united us. So that's the best thing President Trump could have ever done. And we're going to go full steam. I'll tell you that. Just full steam, cutting red tape. We aren't going to take years to get stuff approved. We're going to follow, follow the direction of the advice that we get from stakeholders, from government, but we're going to move like greased lightning. Any other questions?
Crown Royal is definitely coming off next month.
I'm sorry, Crown Royal?
You're definitely going to remove it in February, correct?
As soon as they close that plant, so you better stock up there, buddy. Richard, I know you like a little rocket fuel every once in a while, so you just go stock up.
It's a Canadian product. It's made in Canada.
They're closing the plant. They're going to go. Okay, let me hear you out. Oh, no, I want to address this. Eventually, you know where they're going. They're going down to Alabama. My good friend Wob Canoe, I love the guy, by the way. They're doing a little production there in Quebec too, but it's all a bunch of BS. It's all going to Alabama. Mark my words. It's going to Alabama. They said they were going to invest in St. Clair, Ontario, $350 million. They pulled the carpet out from underneath us. All I'm saying is, as a business person, if you have your number one customer spending hundreds of millions of dollars, why would you try to hurt that customer? So it's simple as that. It's not going to be produced in Ontario anymore. They're closing the plant after, God knows, decades and generations of work at this plant. We're going to bring new products, new opportunities to that jurisdiction, and we're going to move forward. As simple as that. The message to everyone else, don't try to hurt Ontario, especially if we're your number one customer. You'll be held accountable. But folks, I want to thank you. And since she's got this job in Ukraine? No, I love Christia. She's doing a great job, but that's going to be her decision. Does she want to be an MP, or does she want to be, support Ukraine and support them? That's going to be her choice, but I think the world of her. Okay, guys, see you later. Thank you. And we're going to keep working. Thank you.